The only ranked on-ranked matchup in Week 2, John Mateer and number 18 Oklahoma defeat Bryce Underwood and number 15 Michigan 24-13. Mateer had 3 total touchdowns in the victory, while Brent Venables' defense keeps the Wolverines in check. The Sooners have now won 21 straight non-conference home games. All right, back here with Kenyon Barner and Richard Johnson here to break down winners and losers from Week 2. John Mateer and Brent Venables, a big winner against Michigan. Richard, what does this win mean for Oklahoma? Because Brent Venables came in 4-6 against ranked teams in his previous 3 seasons.
Yeah, I don't want to say this is the only signature win that Brent Venables has ever had, right? They beat Alabama last year,
sure,
at home, for instance. But it's really big for them to get off on the right foot this season with this game in this spot. I think Oklahoma and Brent Venables have been backs against the wall a little bit. I think there's people questioning whether Brent Venables is really the man for this job. He showed you tonight why I think that he could be, because you got to give him a lot of credit for redoing this entire football program, not just the offense. He brings in Ben Arbuckle, he brings in John Mateer. They processed the wide receiver room that was really injured last year and held them back on offense. He also brought in Jim Nagy and turned over some of the front office things that had to be done to somebody else. He said, we're going to bring in Jim Nagy as the GM. You handle that stuff. I just want to coach. And he's got this defense firing on all cylinders. You saw them limit Bryce Underwood. I mean, Bryce Underwood wasn't really able to do anything in the passing game here. We talked about how they basically don't respect him up in the green room. We were talking about the cover zero looks and the blitz looks and the pressures that they brought at him. Justice Haynes had a nice run there where he goes 75 yards to the house. Other than that, there's not really a ton to speak for this Michigan offense today.
Listen, top 25 matchups are what make and break coaches, right?
Right.
4-7 is not the Oklahoma standard. So this game was absolutely huge for him. If you lose this game, now we're having a different conversation. I come up in R&B days. Tyrese Gibson said he has a song, "Have I Told You You Still Mean the World to Me Lately?" Winning means the world to Oklahoma. Winning means the world to the powers that be at Oklahoma that make these decisions. And so now that we have won this game, now we can get into the SEC schedule where we can compete defensively. We have more top 25 matchups, and we can continue to build this resume and make a claim that we deserve to be here and we're going to be here.
Well, for Oklahoma, that's their 4th straight win against a Big Ten opponent as they take down Michigan at home. Florida among the losers on Saturday, stunned by USF. Gators defensive lineman Brendan Bett was ejected after spitting on an opponent on the final drive. Billy Napier's play calling called into question. This was just a mess for the Gators. Richard, how hot is Billy Napier's seat in Gainesville?
Muy caliente. Yeah. Very hot. It has to be. How could it not be when you lose a 17.5-point favorite at home to USF? You're the University of Florida. There are certain programs, particularly in your state, that you should not be losing to. USF is one of them. Credit to the Bulls. They came out last week against Boise State and showed that they are serious. Obviously, they came out today and showed that they are very serious. But Florida was not on its P's and Q's. There were little things that held Florida back from winning this game. Execution issues, particularly when they got down to the red zone in the first half. And then the penalties where they shoot themselves in the foot and they hand USF basically 30 free yards with a pass interference and, as you saw, spitting. It's things like that that hold you back. It's things like that that this Florida program is not taking the next step under Billy Napier. DJ Lagway does not look like he got better in the offseason. DJ Lagway is a player who has all the potential in the world, but he does not look like he's put a foot forward to be a better quarterback. And that falls on Billy Napier as well as someone who is really in on the offensive play calling and the quarterback room overall.
You agree with that?
I do agree. Watching him, he looks the same.
Okay.
He looks the exact same. There isn't. You want to see progress. A lot of people confuse motion with progress. You can have motion standing still, but you're not going anywhere. What you want to see in a quarterback, you want to see a level and growth in the way that you throw the ball. You want to see leadership growth. You want to see you get out on that field and manage a game and go out and win a game. And that's just not something that we've seen today.
And Kenyon, it doesn't get any easier for Florida. Their next 4 games are against a ranked opponent. They're on the road at LSU. They're on the road at Miami. Then they have a bye week. As you take a look at this schedule, I mean, this is another gauntlet for the Gators.
Listen, this one loss could turn into a 4 or 5 game skid. You win this game now, again, you're having a different conversation. The the motivation and the energy of the team is different. But coming off a loss to USF, knowing that you have to come in and you have to play a Texas, a LSU, what is the mindset? What are we thinking? How do we bounce back from this, knowing that we lost to a team that is not at our caliber, that should not be in a game with us, and now we come into SEC play where we're playing legit top 10 teams. This doesn't look good for Florida.
This is a brutal schedule, Richard. I mean, this is one of the toughest in the country. I would say this is absolutely bonkers how difficult Florida's schedule is.
Yeah, I think the problem is last year the schedule looked just as daunting. Then you get to the end of the season.
Sure.
And Florida got better at the end of the season than it was at the beginning. But my point here, and it comes off of what Kenyon just said, do you have a team that starts to check out this year if they don't have the motivation that, like DJ Lagway coming in last season, the first half of the season, that was an injection. That was a shot in the arm for this program, and they were able to rally down the stretch. You don't have that this season. If you're already losing a game you shouldn't be losing to a team you shouldn't be losing to, and then perhaps you lose to LSU and then an in-state opponent in Miami that beat the brakes off you last year. So you got a problem, because then it becomes this thing where it could potentially snowball out of control, and you have guys that, like I'm thinking about the portal, I'm thinking about the draft, I'm thinking about getting out of here. Maybe it's even an interim head coach if Billy Napier ends up getting fired because it goes so poorly, and then you have just a whole bunch of people kind of throwing in the towel, and then it's a truly lost season.
Well, shouts to Alex Golesh, because that's back-to-back wins over ranked opponents. They beat the brakes off of Boise State last week, and now they go in to Gainesville and beat the Gators for the first time in school history. Another team who disappointed on Saturday, reigning Big 12 champion Arizona State, falls on the road at Mississippi State, down 17-0. They tie it up, then they take a 3-point lead, but then final seconds, Blake Shapen finds Brennan Thompson for a 58-yard touchdown to pull off the upset. Not sure where the defense was. Richard, cowbells a big winner on Saturday.
More cowbell. I got a fever, and it's the only prescription. Sam Leavitt was not good in this game for Arizona State. Goes, I believe, 10 of 22. Jordan Tyson was a great wide receiver. Not much from him either. Arizona State just was not really able to get in gear. This is the second year in a row they've struggled with this Mississippi State team. Last year, Mississippi State came back on them and gave them a run for their money. This year, Mississippi State and that rabid home crowd were able to get it over the line. And you saw how they took Arizona State's best punch there when Arizona State goes up for the first time in the fourth quarter. And we thought, oh, man, this is going to be over. You know, it was a valiant effort from Mississippi State, but Arizona State was able to come back and get it done. But no, they took the best shot there, and they delivered a knockout blow of their own.
Mississippi State matches its entire win total from last season here in week 2.
Credit to what Jeff Lebby is building. It's hard. It is hard to win down there. It's hard to win in Starkville.
Indeed it is. And speaking of winning, let's get your biggest winner of the day. Kenyon, Oregon. His team was awesome on this day. They crushed Oklahoma State 69-3 on CBS. 9 different players had a touchdown. Kenyon, I know you like what you saw from your Ducks in Eugene, but who else stood out to you on this day in week 2?
Listen, it was another beautiful day in the Emerald Valley.
Yes, it was.
But I'll leave my guys alone. I won't be biased. I'm going to go to Texas with Arch Manning. For week 1 of the season, not a great showing. Absolutely awful, in my opinion. We're out there skipping rocks. This week, we come back against a lesser talented team, a team that we should go out and dominate. But in football, we have this thing when we talk offense. Get a first down on the first possession to get this thing rolling. For Archie Manning, it's get a good game up under your belt, get your feet up under you, gain confidence, and go out and play the game of football, and let's continue to move forward. And that's what he did today. 4 touchdowns, 200-some-odd yards. Pretty good game from my guy. I'm happy to see him kind of bounce back and get on a good foot.
Elsewhere in the Lone Star State, my winner, I'm going to take Baylor. The Baylor Bears come back after a week 1 loss against Auburn to knock off SMU in sort of a battle of the Metroplex situation. I think Baylor has so many ways to beat you in the passing game with Sawyer Robinson. Cole Wilson and Michael Trigg basically didn't do anything today, but Ashton Hawkins and Josh Cameron combined for almost 300 yards receiving. I mean, Baylor had, almost 500 yards of total offense. 600 yards of total offense on my sheet right here. Sawyer Robinson's a great player, and what Bryson Washington gives them running the ball. I mean, Bryson Washington is an incredible running back. I don't know if Baylor's going to stop a nosebleed. You saw that SMU obviously scored 45 points. That game went to overtime. I don't know how well Baylor's defense is going to hold up over the course of the season, but they're going to be appointment television because of the amount of points that they can put up. They can really move the ball.
They were down 14 late in this game in the fourth quarter. Baylor quarterback Sawyer Robertson, he threw the ball 50 times, but most importantly, he tossed 2 of his 4 touchdowns in the final 5.5 minutes of regulation. That right there, the definition of clutch, as Baylor knocks off SMU. Oh, yeah, college football's so back. It's so back. It's so back. I'm so excited. We got our guys here, Kenyon Barner, Richard Johnson. Check out the latest edition of College Football Insiders, hosted by a powerhouse team of reporters, including Richard Johnson. This show delivers the stories behind the headlines. College Football Insiders. Download and follow today.